Hi, my name is Krithi, and today I'll be going over Day 1 Precalculus problems. So for the first question, it says, given the following piecewise function, graph and find the domain and range. So if we look at our first function, we know it's a quadratic because of the square. And so our first step here, what we will do is graph the domain. So since x is less than or equal to 4, I'm going to draw a dotted line on 4. And since it is quadratic, we're going to start at 2 because of the 2 here. And we're going to make a little table so we can find out our points. So since it's less than or equal to 4, we can do -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And for our function, we just basically plug in this number in the x. So it would be -3 squared plus 2, -2 squared plus 2, -1 squared plus 2, and so on and so forth. So then that would be 11, 6, 3, 2, 3, 6, 11, and 18. And now we can graph. So that would be -3, 1, 2, 3, and 11, -2 and 6, and -1 and 3. And then same thing on the other side. And it would be 4 and 18, so we could say it's up there. So since this side it's included, it's going to stop at 4, and this side will keep going on forever. Okay, and now for our next function, we know that x is greater than or equal to 4, but is less than 7. 5, 6, 7. So we're going to draw another dotted line over here. And since it's just x, we know it's a linear function, and it starts at 3. So I'm going to take a different color. So it's going to go like this. And since it's included 4, we put a dot there. And it's not including 7, so open dot. And then our next function is this one, and our domain is just greater than or equal to 7. So we know it's going to have to be on this side of the graph. So if we take this out, it'll be over 2, so we know it starts at 2. So if it started at 2 and the slope is 2 over 1, so it would be here, 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 here. Okay, let's take a different color. It would be here. It would include 7 and then keep going from there. So now that we had graphed this, find the domains. To find the domain, we would do the first one. It would be -infinity to 4. And then we would do another one, which would be 4 to, even though this is technically connected, we're going to do 3. So it would be 4 to 7 and not included. And then next it would be 7 included to infinity. And then for our next, it's range, and our range would just be -infinity to bottom here, so that's 2 included. Okay, so for here, we have to basically given the graph above, use the following transformation to create the resulting graph. So write 4, reflect over x down 2. So I'm just going to first reflect it over the x-axis. So it would start from here. And this will stop over here. And then this one would be over here. Do a different color. This was open, and then do different color, close, and do here. This goes like this. This would be connected. And they want us to move right 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and down 2, 1, 2. So that would be our new graph. For number 3, they want us to find the inverse. So for inverse, all we're going to do is switch the x and the y. So it would be x is equal to y minus 1 cubed over 4 plus 2. So that would be x minus 2 is equal to y minus 1 cubed over 4 times 4 both sides. And then to get rid of the 3, we would just square root by 3. So now we have 3 square root 4x minus 2 is equal to y minus 1. So add 1 both sides. So our final answer would be 4x minus 2 plus 1 is equal to the inverse. So our first question is asking, state the domain of the original. And since it is cubed, our graph would look somewhat like this. So it would be all real numbers. And there are no restrictions. And the inverse, we found it here. So I'm just going to copy and paste. And then for the domain and range of the inverse is also going to be all real numbers. And to find the inverse, verify the inverse function above using composition. So it's basically f of g of x and then g of f of x. So for f of g of x, we would plug in g in the x of the fx function. So it would be x minus 2 plus 1 minus 1 over 3 over 4 plus 2. So since it's not really multiplying anything, we don't need these parentheses, and these two will cross out, and this can cross out. So your final answer, now your next step would be of x is equal to, this wouldn't be f of x. This would be, it would be 4x minus 2 over 4 plus 2. These two would cancel out, so then it would be x minus 2 plus 2. You can get rid of these parentheses. That means these two would cross out, so x would be your answer. For this one, we would do same thing, but just the opposite. So inside this function, inside the g of x function, we plug in the f of x function. So we would do x minus 1 cubed over 4 plus 2 minus 2 plus 1. So we get rid of these two, and we can get rid of these two. So then it would be x minus 1 plus 1. We can get rid of this and this. So it'd be x minus 1 plus 1. We have parentheses over here. We don't really need them, so we can cross those out. We have x. So since both of them resulted in x, they both are inverses of each other. Thank you.